Hello everyone. Welcome to Magical Stocks channel, where fundamentals meet technical. We are going to show you the top 5 best performing blue chip stocks for the year 2020 as our second top 5 video as we summarize the 2020 performance. Our first top 5 was the top 5 dividend-paying blue chip stocks for the year 2020. If you haven't seen the video yet, we are leaving the link below to let you know who are the top 5 dividend-paying stocks for 2020. Please visit our channel too to know more about the magical stocks. We are promoting stress-free stock trading with a high chance of profit at a lesser risk. Before we proceed with the top 5 best performing blue chip stocks for the year 2020, and if you are interested in investing using our magical stocks or simply like to monitor the effectiveness of our system, please like this channel, subscribe, and hit the notification button to keep you updated weekly. Let's get to know the top 5 best performing blue chip stocks for the year 2020. Coming in at number 5 is LTG, who closed the year 2020 at 13.1 pesos per share. Closing the year 2019 with 12.0 pesos per share, its performance for the year 2020 is 9.17%. LTG went down below 6 pesos per share during the start of the pandemic in March 2020 and was able to bounce back immediately in April 2020, June 2020, and October 2020. LTG is one of our magical stocks bought in the middle of October 2020 at 9.96 pesos per share. We are gaining more than 30% in this stock when it closed 13.1 pesos per share last year. LT Group was originally incorporated in 1937 as the Manila Wine Merchants, Incorporated. The company was renamed in 1995 as Asian Pacific Equity Corporation in line with the change of its primary purpose to that of a holding company, then again in 1999 as Tanduay Holdings, Incorporated, together with other amendments to its bylaws. The company's corporate name was changed to its present form after a series of restructuring activities in 2012 and 2013, which resulted in its acquisition of investments in beverages, tobacco, property development, and banking businesses belonging to Lucio C. Tan and his family and assignees. Our number 4 best performing blue chip stock is FGEN, or First Gen Corporation. FGEN closed the year 2020 with 28.15 pesos per share, and in 2019, it closed at 23 pesos per share. Computing for its performance will result in a 22.39% change. FGEN was also affected by the pandemic in March 2020 and touches the 14 pesos per share level. It managed to bounce back in April 2020, June 2020, and October 2020, closing at 28.15 pesos per share. First Gen was incorporated on December 22, 1998, as the primary holding company for the energy-related businesses of the Lopez Group. Before its incorporation, the company has been involved in the power generation business since 1993 through First Philippine Holdings Corporation, its parent and controlling shareholder. Coming in at number 3 is MPI, or Metro Pacific Investments Corporation. MPI closed the year 2020 with 4.28 pesos per share, coming from its preceding year of 2019 at 3.36 pesos per share. Its performance year-on-year will be a good 27.38%, which is number 3 on our list. MPI was also affected by the pandemic that started in the middle of March 2020. MPI was able to bounce back in May 2020 and October 2020 and eventually closed the year at 4.28 pesos per share. Metro Pacific Investments was incorporated in 2006 in line with the reorganization and recapitalization plan of Metro Pacific Corporation, or MPC. The plan involved the company's acquisition of MPC's stake in property developer Landco Incorporated, as well as the offering of its shares in exchange for the shares of existing MPC shareholders in MPC. The plan resulted in the company's listing in the Philippine Stock Exchange by way of introduction and its ownership of a majority stake in MPC and Landco. MPC was eventually delisted from the local bourse. Coming in at number 2 is TEL, which is also known as PLDT. It closed the year 2020 with 1,340.0 pesos per share, coming from the 2019 closing of 994.0 pesos per share. Its performance will result in a very good gain of 34.81%. TEL, or PLDT, was slightly affected by the pandemic that started last March 2020. It was able to weather the storm because its service is essential during this time of the pandemic. PLDT, formerly Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company, was incorporated on November 28, 1928, following the merger of 4 telephone companies under U.S. ownership, namely, Philippine Telephone and Telegraph Company, Cebu Telephone and Telegraph Company, Panay Telephone and Telegraph Company, and Negros Telephone and Telegraph Company. The company's corporate name was changed to its present form in 2016. In 1967, effective control of PLDT was sold by General Telephone and Electronics Corporation to a group of Filipino businessmen. In 1981, PLDT purchased substantially all of the assets and liabilities of Republic Telephone Company, which at that time was the second largest telephone company in the Philippines. Before the liberalization of the telecommunications sector in 1993, PLDT was a virtual monopoly in providing telephone service in the country. PLDT's common shares are listed and traded on the Philippine Stock Exchange, while its American depository shares are listed and traded on the New York Stock Exchange in the U.S. And our number 1 best performing blue chip stock is EMP, or Emperador Incorporated. It closed the year 2020 at 10.1 pesos per share. When it closed the year 2019 with 7.21 pesos per share, its performance year-on-year was an excellent 40.08%. EMP was gaining a good price per share in late February 2020 when its momentum was affected by the pandemic, touching the 6 pesos per share level. However, it managed to bounce back immediately in April 2020 and further gained in July 2020 and eventually stayed at 10 pesos per share level when the year ended. Emperador, formerly known as Touch Solutions Incorporated, was incorporated on November 26, 2001, with the main objective of providing end-to-end information and communications technology solutions and services to its customers. It disposed of its information technology or IT business in April 2013 by transferring all its IT-related assets to a related company. The company, which was substantially a shell company at the time, changed its corporate name to Trillion Stars Holdings Incorporated in August 2013 in line with the change in its primary purpose to that of a holding company. In September 2013, a reverse acquisition via a series of transactions resulted in Alliance Global Group acquiring majority control over the company, which in turn acquired full ownership of Emperador Distillers Incorporated, the Philippines' largest liquor company and the world's largest brandy producer. The company's corporate name was once again changed to its present form, to reflect the change in its management. Let's summarize the top 5 best performing blue chip stocks for 2020. Our number 5 stock is LTG, where it closed 2019 with 12.0 pesos per share. The price per share went up to 13.1 pesos per share, giving LTG a 9.17% change in stock price. The top 4 is FGEN, who closed 2019 with 23.0 pesos per share and went up to 28.15 pesos per share when it closed last 2020. This is a 22.39% change or stock price performance. Coming in at our top 3 is MPI. It closed 2019 at 3.36 pesos per share and was able to close the year 2020 with a 4.28 pesos per share price. This is equivalent to 27.38% performance. At our top 2 is TEL or PLDT, where they closed 2019 at 994.0 pesos per share and managed to close the year 2020 at 1,340 pesos per share. 34.81% is its performance with this huge jump. Our top 1 best performing stock that performed above all the blue chips is EMP. EMP closed the year 2019 at 7.21 pesos per share, and in 2020, it closed at an excellent stock price of 10.1 pesos per share, which is equivalent to 40.08%. These best performing stocks will remind us that blue chip stocks are strong even in the time of the worst market situation like the one that hit 2020, which is the pandemic. We just have to be patient. That will be all for the update on the top 5 best performing blue chip stocks in 2020. Thank you for watching. In the coming days, we will be releasing a video of the top low dividend paying blue chip stocks for the year 2020. Quote, "In this business, if you're good, you're right 6 times out of 10. You're never going to be right 9 times out of 10. Unquote. Peter Lynch. See you in the next video. Have a great day ahead.